I wanted to actually start by asking you about Kate herself. She's such an interesting character, and she's really relatable, but she's also a bit of an enigma because there's not a lot of explicitly stated about her. How do you go about approaching a character like that, where you kind of, you know, little bits and pieces, but you don't kind of know everything about her?
Well, I try to know as much as I can about her, even if we don't explain all of it. I always said, it's weird because I did quite a few characters like that sort of remain quite opaque, I guess, in a way, and mysterious, and I love them. I think cinema is a lot about trying to understand the mysteries that we all are for each other, really, because we never really know what I will never know what you're really experiencing right now, and where you're coming from, really, even if I know you as well as I can. And I always think cinema is one way to try and sort of approach that mystery. And certainly for me, acting has become a bit of that. So I guess if I approach a character like that, I try to be as clear as possible for me as where she's coming from, what kind of childhood she's had, what kind of so I know all of these things, even if they're not sort of said. And then, but what I find quite powerful, well, I can't really say that without giving away too much. But what I find quite very smart the way sort of David lets out a few information,
bits and pieces,
including one quite close to the end, where you're like, oh, okay. So this is why things are like the way they are, and I love movies like that. I love movies where you sort of discover things bits by bits. Not everything has to be said or explained. What
was your favourite part about playing Kate? I find her really interesting too. She talks about how she likes to observe, that she's kind of stands apart from things. What was your favourite part about it?
That was probably my favourite part, actually, is being in a room and being able to watch all the other actors and not sort of have to take the room, which I think for me in real life is a bit of an effort anyway. I'm not very good at sort of getting there, and I always David was making fun of me last night because he came the night before, because he came to a party and I was like, come, I'm at this thing, and he came in and he was like, you were like hidden in this corner. And you couldn't have been more hidden, and I really like it because you get to sort of watch people and sort of, it's that same idea, like, of trying to understand who they are and stuff. So that was a side of her that's very close to me, I guess, which was quite nice to be able to experience while acting, because it's quite rare. Usually you just have to sort of get out there, and with her it was very much the sort of the opposite way. It was just to try and sort of
pull back
and sit and watch until things start to change, clearly, because she doesn't stay like that.
Well, what do you think, because she does seem actually a little bit content to be removed, but when she meets the downstairs neighbours, what do you think it is that kind of attaches her to especially the wife so quickly?
I think Teresa, so one of the woman downstairs, the woman below, is everything that Kate isn't, and so I think she just sort of, she's both charmed by her energy and her sort of very joyful take on things. She's quite confident. She's quite intrigued. She gets quite worried at some point, and I think if things didn't go the way they were, she would probably try to help, I guess. But I think Kate is a very lonely. I don't think she's got any friends. I don't think she's very good at friendship, probably. And I think Teresa just sort of is there, and there is an element, I think, of curiosity and of sort of, because of her job, of just trying to sort of understand who this different animal is.
Well, and the film itself is very I mean, your mother is played by Deborah Findlay, but it's really the four of you for most of the...
Yeah.
How was it getting to work with those other actors? And David Morrissey in particular, we were talking earlier about the kind of quiet menace, like he doesn't have to do much, he's just slightly menacing all the time. What was it like getting to work with the other actors?
It was lovely. Stephen and I sort of had a few coffees together before we started, and he's one of the sort of most charming, easygoing. He sort of brings, you see him, he sort of comes on set and everyone just, including mostly the girls, but everyone's just like, oh, he's never in a bad mood, there's something so pleasant about working with him. So that dynamic and that sort of, because it's a couple that's been together for 10 years and so they know each other and they've become friends in a way, even if Kate doesn't do friendship that much. But so that was really easy. Laura, I was sort of I have a lot of admiration for everything she does in the movie. She's very different from Teresa, and she couldn't be more different. And so she really sort of came up with this character when she's one of the most sort of subtle, discreet, soft girl I've met. And David has it has quite an intimidating presence in real life as well, but not because he's scary, but there's something political engagement, I guess, and the way he talks about the world and and he's very serious about his job, and so yeah, there was a sense of it's not intimidation really, but we were all a bit more, all of a sudden all of our energies were a bit more focused,
a little more aware,
which is probably good.
Well, you also, I talked to David about this as well, that you got to, it's kind of, not nightmare, but trial by fire. You have babies on set, and you also have animal, the cat.
Yeah.
What was it like to work with both of them, and kind of the difficulties of both? Because I know with the babies that there's a very schedule driven, so there's a kind of slight lack of control over how many times you can do things or try things.
I mean, that's more a sort of first AD kind of nightmare. For us, it doesn't change that much. For me, acting with a baby is just really hard because it's very hard to act. Because if you're holding a baby, the only thing you want to do is sort of. And David would be like, "Come on, you're not like just stop staring at this baby and stop kissing the baby and just sort of." Get on with the scene, or don't be so careful. Try not to be, because it's someone's baby and they're watching you, and you're just trying to like pick them up the right way and not. I loved it. If I could do films with babies all the time, I would do them. And then the cat is a pro. You know, cat's got like a very good handler who knows how to. You do. It's the sort of classic Day for Night, the Truffaut film like scene where they're all trying to get a cat to lick a bit of milk and it's not working and they're losing the entire day of shoot, because I actually found that it wasn't that difficult, but it was the cat did. There's one scene where Laura scares the cat. And I think because she scared him on the first take, he was not going back. So to try and get him to get back there but that was quite funny.
It seems quite smart.
Then I'm not
really,
as
a cat.
Yeah,
you're like, well, that
was bad. Yeah. I'm not going back.
Our relationship is over. That's not happening anymore.
Yes, you know.
Well, and the film is featured here as part of the London spotlight, the city to city spotlight. What do you think the city actually adds to the film in a way?
I think if you're from London and you know where this is set and the way Justin and Kate, they're very sort of, it sort of indicates a lot, the Islington house and the very sort of leafy, beautiful neighbourhood, and it indicates a lot about where people are at in society, I guess. And then there's a lot of elements that, I think there's two English men who are so completely different. It's sort of in the characters as well. But I think somehow it's more about character. The character is more the house, probably, than the city.
And the house does
I
seem
guess.
to be a character almost in and of
It
itself.
is, yeah.
And the garden in particular.
The garden became a character. Yeah, certainly for us. Also, we spent so much time there that
That's
it just
fantastic.
became like something to work with.
Thank you so much.